Good majestical evening, class. Welcome back to Paranormal Tech 101. Thank you to everybody who joined us last week for our very first episode, where we got to know a little bit about our partners over at Paranormal Electronics Limited and the fact that they now have a North American store, which is pretty friggin' sweet. But you can see it scrolling along here at the bottom. All the description and links and their links in the description below. There we go. We got some words. We got them out. Good job, team. So today, what are we talking about? It's a great question, John. We're going to be talking about the greatest band of all time, EMF and the Detectors. That's right. We're going to be talking about the electromagnetic field and ways to detect it while out there, and best practices and best pieces of equipment, things like this. And what we're going to be talking about, if you guys are interested in any of the products that we are talking about, any of the pieces of equipment, you can check the links below. And that's where you can get a hold of these. But that's enough yammering. I'm going to bring in I guess I would be his assistant. He's technically our teacher. So I'm going to bring in our teacher. I'm going to bring in Mr. John from over in Paranormal Electronics. What's going on, dude? How you doing? How's London treating you?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. You mean you fell short of calling me Yoda there? I thought you were trying to the word. I think you don't call me Yoda because I have to come on doing impression.
No. I'm dark side. I don't talk about those pansies over there in the Jedi Order. I don't talk about those guys. No. So you guys actually just got done doing an investigation.
Yeah. This week we went away to a very, very haunted location in the UK, 39 Grey Street, up in Hull. If you haven't heard of it, then you really do need to Google it, and you really do need to visit there, guys. It's just layer upon layer upon layer on murders and suicides, and all in all, just really, really good spirit activity.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded pretty crazy. And that's definitely a place that, when I can eventually make it over to the UK, let's party, dude. Let's party. I'm ready to go. And what is actually kind of crazy is after the show last week, we got to experience a little activity, didn't we?
Oh, hell yeah. That's some unexpected shit going on.
That was crazy because for those of you guys who don't know, after the show is usually over, I kind of hang out with whoever's on the show. We kind of talk backstage for probably a good 20-30 minutes or so. And sure enough, like just randomly, we're having a really great conversation and starting to hear voices, starting to hear knocking and bumping and things like this. And he's seeing stuff. And I was like, oh my God, like if we were still live, this would be perfect. But we weren't. So sorry for that. Anyway, so let's get down to as they would say, the brass tacks. Let's get down to what we're talking about today, guys. So talk to us about the electromagnetic field, what it is, and how it affects spirits, hauntings, things like that.
Oh, you want me to talk?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Lay it out for me, brother.
Sorry, I thought you were asking everybody. I was like, I was going to wait for comments to come up and be like, yeah, cool, yeah. Yes, guys, EMF, we all know what it is in the field. Electromagnetic, okay? EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, actually, to be fair, or electromagnetic fields, whatever you want to do. We're just going to concentrate on EM part of that, electromagnetics, guys. So, obviously, the theory is when you pass over, you've still got some of that energy is what you're using. Well, my theory is what you're using up, say like a battery, and you're using that energy over a number period of years, and that energy will run out, so to speak. But People obviously think you regenerate that energy as you go along, which hence you stay in spirit form. Now, electromagnetic is something that is indicated that has been detected a lot in the paranormal field, obviously, along with other things as well, but obviously we're going to concentrate on that. And devices out there to detect them, obviously, like your usual K2 meters, which are, we sell genuine ones on our store for only £35. Plug already. Or the multimeters there, which is obviously a more of a digital one. I believe as well, people believe that the dowsing rods are used to detect electromagnetics, and obviously, and magnetics from water and stuff like that. But yeah, so electromagnetics is the form of energy which people believe, and obviously myself included, that when you detect that in a room that's got no magnetics whatsoever or electronics whatsoever, then it can indicate that a spirit is present.
And that's that. I 100% agree that it is something that shows up when a spirit is deciding that it wants to make itself known. I have, I myself am an investigator. You're an investigator. We've got people in the chat here that are investigators as well, and they understand that, when something is happening, to put it this way, when I can go to a cemetery where they are not going to run a ground electronic wire through, no kind of power through the ground, no kind of power overhead, and that thing is going off like crazy in my hand, and my hand is ice cold. To me, that means one thing and one thing only. It means that I've made contact with something. And the fact that it takes a form, you can wave it, and it takes a form. It's mind-boggling that it all adds up. You know what I mean? And it kind of all points to the electromagnetic field being a representation of a spirit manifesting.
Indeed, yeah. And obviously, guys, we have to be wary when we go into properties and we're looking for things, and we end up getting a EMF reading. Just remember where, take a mental note of where cables can run as well. I've seen so many investigations where they're like, oh my God, and it might be live, like this live, and then it's going off and you're like, oh my God. And actually, electromagnetics is a lot more than just obviously a magnet and some electric. It's a lot of other things as well. So that's why I like to call it electromagnetic frequency, because it is on a frequency where it can affect things it's simulated with obviously phone signals and things like that.
I've seen it ghost hunters back in the day talked about a thing called the fear cage, which is where you've got a bunch of EMF, you've got a bunch of electronics that are not properly insulated, and they're giving off an incredible amount of EMF, or the frequency, and it creates almost hallucinations. It creates headaches. It creates blurred vision, all kinds of stuff. So it's really quite interesting, and I concur that you need to be able to go in, and I would say during the daytime when you're going in to kind of check out the places that you want to hit, I would say go ahead and have whatever you use as a reader with you, so you can go ahead and mark down in your notes, hey, there's an EMF field here, there's an EMF field here, we've got wiring all over the place, is the wiring still active, stuff like this. Because the last thing that you want to do as an investigator is to potentially bring in false information and say that it's something that it isn't. Indeed,
absolutely. But yeah, so electromagnetics, guys, if you buy an EMF meter, then definitely you're buying the right object there for the paranormal field. It's kind of like the 101, the base model thing that you need to get. And if you don't have one of those in your kit, then definitely need to get one. But yeah, it's something that we all go out and buy first of all, and we'll use it for the entire time that we ever investigate. Even I today, I'm still using my K2 meters. Oh, sorry, that's my daughter in the background. I thought she would have honest. Like the K2 meters, the multimeters, obviously. The multimeter that we sell is just a digital version of a normal EMF meter. It's just got the temperatures on as well as anything else. So, yeah, guys, literally, you need one in your toolbox. That's what you need. You need one in your spooky box, I should call it, not toolbox. Sorry. But yeah, yeah. So I know you just said about investigations you've been on there and stuff like that. So have you got any that sticks in your mind where you've had a huge EMF reading, but also capture something else at the same time?
Yes. So I actually alluded to being in a cemetery, and there's a reason that I did that is because one of the first investigations that's actually up here on the channel, part 2 of the Rutherford City Cemetery episode, we are in these iron gates where I had seen a figure out of the corner of my eye. We had a couple of other things happen around it, hearing footsteps, voices, things like this. And I finally broke my rule and I went into these iron gates. I walked in. And the second I made it through the opening, my K2 went off. It lit up to, what was it? Yellow, I believe, is the one right before red. And it lit up to that quick spike, real quick spike. And I was maybe a foot from where I had actually seen the figure earlier, maybe 10, 15 minutes earlier. And then all of a sudden, as I'm walking further in, it starts going haywire. It's just going off, and I'm moving it around, and I literally, my hand was cold, and there was a spot about this big that was just kind of hovering and moving back and forth almost in front of my head. And what makes it crazier is we did a TikTok live investigation back at that same place, and we're able to replicate it again, move for move, except we had more equipment, and we turned on our ghost box and were actually able to make contact with whoever it was that was standing in front of me. And it was really quite interesting. It was one of the people that was buried in those gates, and he remembered us being there. And that was back in February, and we went there 2-3 weeks ago for the live investigation. So he remembered us being there.
That is so cool, though. I mean,
yeah,
especially when the spirit remembers you. I've had on like the obelisk and the spirit box loads of times, like, John, you've come back, kind of thing, and stuff. Yeah. And I'm just like,
No, thanks for remembering me. I hope it's for good reasons.
Yeah. I didn't say anything untoward, did I? Oh my god, sweat starts. You know what I mean?
It's what it is. It's what it feels like sometimes, man. When they see you and they're like, "Hey, buddy," and you're like, "Are we really friends?"
I mean,
what do you want from me?
I don't even know what you look like. I mean. Oh well, it's very transparent.
It's funny. So when it comes to dowsing rods, what is your belief behind dowsing rods? Is it something that you've seen that has worked? Because in my mind, when I I've even seen people use dowsing rods and things like that on investigations, but my thing is, I was so used to watching people use it to find water sources. And to me, I think, like, in my mind, that's all I'm seeing is, oh, they're going over a spot that has water in it or something. Like, is that something that in your experience you have seen to successfully mark a magnetic field, electromagnetic field?
I've not seen a single moment where it's convinced me that it's detecting a spirit, so to speak. But then I'm more of a techie, so I'm more for the gadgets going off. But obviously, I'm more than open to seeing people do those different experiments. And I've actually got a a thing in mind. Sorry, guys, if you hear any noise from my kids. We're away tonight in London, of all places, staying at a hotel. And now that I've turned the lights on, my boy's like, "Oh my God, Daddy's awake. I want to wake up," and wakes up our little 4-month-old. So just general stuff, really. But yeah, I've got an idea in mind, and I've already done a bit of CAD work towards it, where it takes the human element out of it, and makes it more static throughout an investigation, so that you can properly
test it.
Properly investigate whether or not they are being manipulated by the fact that hands are warming them up, which is allowing the metal to much slightly and move, or whether or not it's just detecting water in a certain place. So yeah, I've got some experiments coming up.
That's one thing that I would love to see is even if you're you do have it handheld, maybe have somebody who is over there with a K2 meter or a MEL meter or an EDI or whatever it is that is able to kind of be like, okay, maybe they are actually catching this. You watch it cross and they drop that meter right in there to see if it is going off.
Absolutely, everything's got to be backed up. As we said last week, using 2-3 items together is the best way to record your data and eliminate other possibilities.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to this field is called paranormal research. That's what it is. It's not just investigations, it's research. And research is something that takes time. It's a theory, it's a hypothesis, it's all of this stuff rolled into one, because sadly, the paranormal community, we don't have a actual scientific fact that we can grasp onto and say 100% that this is happening. We can't come to the world with a scientific fact of what's going on. So it's testing everything. And I think it's amazing that there is all of this equipment out here, because we're finding correlations between a bunch of different things by using a bunch of different instruments. And it's fantastic to see. So when it comes to let's get into the detectors. Let's get into the background singers of Mr. EMF. Okay. What are the different ways in meters and things that we can use out there on the market that are the best for reading EMF?
Right. Okay. So we'll start off with the old boy, the one that a lot of people used to use, and that was an analog EMF detector. Right? So it was one where you had the little spike that went up on the meter. And
I have one.
Yeah, so
old trusty.
I'm forgetting the actual proper name for it, because I just call it the old guy.
The Gauss meter. The Gauss meter, right?
Meter, there we go. Which was the very first one to hit the market. It's the one that obviously got people looking for the EMF to begin with. Which it looks like John's gonna get one out for you to show. To show you, sorry, for you to show. God. Here it is. Ta-da!
That is my Gauss meter.
And
it screams.
My personal feeling on those ones is they're a little bit too sensitive to be massively scientific, but they work in the respect of letting you know there's EMF around. I think that it's a very narrow detection element to it, which obviously makes it very sensitive. But to be fair, they are good as a basic starter. Probably cost you in British pounds, probably talking about £10 to £15. And then
what I like about the Gauss meter and about this little guy is I can turn him on, and I can put a camera on this, and I can walk away because it screams. It makes a noise when it goes off.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll go off here, but yeah. So
loud.
It will with it being that loud and it being what it is, I can turn that on, set it in front of a camera, and I can walk away and I can leave the room. And if something were to happen, maybe it goes near, some sort of a trigger object or something that we leave out, then maybe, I know for a fact the audio will be caught by the camera. Maybe we can even see that spike go. But if we know for a fact that we have left the room and we have not had any K2 hits, we have not had any EMF hits anywhere, and that thing goes off, then for sure something is happening. And we don't even have to be in the room, and we know that something's happening.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's the first one, which obviously people look at because it's the cheapest, because it's the one which everyone can afford if you've just got a bit of change in your pocket and you need one.
Yep.
Then you get on to the most recognized EMF meter in the fields, made by an American company, and it's the standard K2 meter, guys. Now, this obviously was first made for electricians and then soon got picked up by ghost hunters or paranormal investigators, paranormal researchers alike. And to be fair, it's the original ones rather than the fakies. The original ones are actually very reliable in respect of creating that very broad detection field. Once again, they are quite sensitive, but they're very reliable on what they're showing. Now, obviously, the standard one that comes from the company doesn't have a buzzer, guys. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. They don't put it on. They don't have any intention of putting a buzzer on theirs. The ones with the buzzers on are ones that people...
it's an aftermarket company.
Yeah, so they've been modified by whoever buys them in. Okay, it's not like the company's gone and said, hey, you can go and do this, but if you bought the product from them, then there we go. There are fakes out there, I will say. There's not a lot of difference between the two for sensitivity wise and the functionality wise, but there is that slight little bit of sensitivity which will make the K2 from America there a little bit, or from the manufacturer, a little bit more.
And for those of you guys who are wondering about the actual real company, it's called K2 Minneapolis, New York. That is the actual company. If it looks like it's anything else, it's not the OG. It's not the real one. So keep that in mind.
Indeed. And to be fair, there's a lot of companies out there which you'll find selling what they believe to be genuine K2 meters for 25, 30 pounds. Oh, well, not even that, actually. I think they're still going for 40, 50 pounds. And they are fake ones, guys. Now, we on our store, we are a registered distributor of the K2 meter from K2 Enterprises. We put it on for 35 pounds. We did have it at 30, but K2 Enterprises told us they wanted us to charge a little bit more to be a bit more competitive with the other guys that are in the UK, as well as in America. Basically, we were beating them on price. So yeah, £35 is the cheapest you're going to find the K2 meter genuine anywhere, guys. So grab on for yourself. That should be in every person's box.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. That should be the number one item at the top of your list.
It is literally the first item that I bought specifically for ghost hunting. Yeah. And this was before I even knew about Paranormal Electronics Limited, so don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. But I got mine, obviously not from you guys, but I got it, and I can tell you that, I mean, it's easily my favorite piece of equipment. And I've built my own EM pump. I've built one, but this little dude right here is my favorite. It is so freaking reliable.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? Even now, I'm 10 years in, and I will still have my K2 meters everywhere in the building, on the lock-off cameras, have one in my pocket, ready to get out at any moment. It's something which never leaves you. And the only reason why you would ever sell your K2 meter is if you're not in the field anymore.
Yeah, Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or if you plan on doing some electrical wiring in your home and you're trying to keep people safe.
Yeah, that too.
But if you're trying to rewire your house, just call somebody. Don't do it.
I was
Just
going
call
to say,
somebody.
I wouldn't use my EMF meter. I'd probably use my mobile phone to actually hire an
Yeah.
electrician.
Hi, I'm an idiot. Can you fix this?
Well, I say that on a regular basis in the office anyway. So, absolutely, that's my solderer's thing. Is I look at him and he goes, "What have you broken now?"
Oh my
So yeah,
god.
that's the first two in the field, guys. And to be fair, I can guarantee that everybody watching and everybody's going to see this will have one of those two already in their box, if not both. All right, and then we get to digital age, guys. This is where we've gone away from the analog look. We've gone to digital, where we can have a digital readout. So the multi EMF meter, whatever you want to call it, we call it the multimeter because does many things. You've got your EMF, you've got your static, you've got your temperatures, you've got it where it buzzes, it gets hot, cold, high EMF readings. It will go red if it's high reading, and obviously it's green normal. Or if the temperature goes low, it goes blue and buzzes off. And it's very compact, about the same size as the K2 meter, but so much more accurate in respect of the K2 meter will light up the lights through the different stages of the detection, where the actual multimeter will give you a digital readout of the exact milligauss reading then. So rather than say the K2 meter will be one light, which is over 5 milligausses, if I'm right.
Yes. Wait. 1.5.
Oh, 1.5 then. Where the reading, so if 2 or 3 lights were there, then obviously the reading would come up as, rather than between a certain thing, it would come up to the exact figure, which is obviously very much more scientific and more what the mel meter is based on as well. So, and that one's that one. Got a few of those in my box, mainly because I want to put them as a static thing where in front of a camera, alongside my K2 meter. So I have both of those two together.
That's good.
Yeah, that's one of those. Have you got one of those?
I do not, man. We're getting into money at that point. We're getting into money.
So the multimeters on our store are looking to the what? £25. So because they're digital, but they're not that expensive, guys. They're £25 in US dollars. I think that's where it's about 37 or something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. And like I said, you're just getting more on the scientific side now. So you're getting more to the I want exact reading, not a roundabout reading of how many lights there are.
Awesome. So we've got the milligauss meter, or the Gauss meter, or as you call it, the old guy. And then we've got the K2, we've got the multimeter. Now, EDI, does an EDI read EMF?
So the EDI does read EMF, but not in a very scientific way. So it does tell you when it detects EMF, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't show you much about it. So it's more like a K2 meter that's built into a multimeter or a multifunctional meter, where it's I'm all for keeping things separate myself, because I think that if you've got many different meters and they're not being influenced by each other, but we sell the EDIs on our store and they're absolutely amazing things for so many different things. The vibration sensor on there is just great. Yes, it's got the EMF as well, so yes, it will buzz off when the EMF comes on. Like I said, it's very sensitive though, very sensitive, and I think they build them in the way so that you get loads of readings, so it makes everybody want to buy them. But yeah, the digital display for temperature as well is certainly one of those positives as well. So they are what I would call the top of the range multi-sensor in the field because
Yeah.
you know we are the cheapest for buying them, and that's still at £240. So doing a massive whack up. There is one that fits in between though, guys. There's a thing called the mail meter. Now the mail meter is exactly the same in almost every single way as the multi EMF meter that we were talking about earlier on. Just put in a very nice case called the mail meter. And then they decided to add a REM to it, which was probably the best thing they ever did because it made it more attractable. But you are still looking at big bucks for those for something which you can replicate for something else.
Yeah. So
I'm
a mail meter is slightly cheaper than the EDI, more expensive than the multimeter, but it's a REM pod with an EMF with a multimeter built in, basically.
Yeah, so Gary Chalk, I think it's Gary Chalker, isn't it, that makes them? Off the top of my head, I think so. He's an amazing guy, and anybody that invents any or comes up with any stuff in the paranormal field and adds to it, he's just very much welcome. But obviously, you've got to look at things as where do you place it? Is it worth the money? And things like that. And I've, like I said, I've been around 10 years. I've had these things, and I've gone out and bought them. And the mail meters go for around about the 150 to 250 mark, depending on where you get it from, depending on what functions it's got, and who wants to make the most bucks out of it. But yeah, I mean, I bought one for £50, the very first one. Wasn't massively impressed. Then went and bought one with the REM for like £90. These are all second hand. And then obviously you look at the circuitry and you figure out that there's not much more going on than the multi EMF meter.
Yeah. So from what I'm hearing is your best option is as cool as the Gauss meter is. And I understand that we may be wanting to save some money and maybe go with that cheaper option. Your best bet is to actually save. Don't spend the money right away. Save and buy that K2 meter. Save and buy that multimeter.
That's the two best in the market, which I will champion. There are other EMF meters out there. There's a Para something or another, and
the other. You're talking about the Lantern K2.
Yeah,
the K2 Lantern. We're not naming a name. We're not naming a name, so nobody can come at us.
No,
but that is what we're talking about. Paranormies are saying what's cracking, so they're in the house saying howdy howdy.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so I think myself, you have to justify the spend, and on the basis that there are other things out there that's more reliable in respect of the data they collect. Trying to put things very diplomatically here, because obviously I'm a builder myself.
Yes,
I would say that it's not worth the price tag.
No, I would agree. I've seen the product. I have used the product. It is an awesome product. But when I look at the price tag on it, I think somebody is smoking some really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, our competitor store in the UK, I think it's gone from 90 to £120 overall, something like that. And when
Haunted Expeditions has the K2 Lantern. It is a great product. The price point is the problem.
Yeah, and like I said with the mail meter, it is an amazing product. But when you think about what else is out there, in my opinion, and obviously maybe yours as well, from what I'm gathering, it's the one that we're talking about. I would see more as a £40 to £50 product, not a £90 to £120 product.
I'm saying what could be done with said product is to obviously have it function as not just the K2, but also to have a RIM pod option attached to it because of what it can do.
Absolutely. And that's what we're doing with the beacons. That's why we're trying different beacons out, so you can have the whole set of beacons doing many different things.
And see, here's the thing. We were talking about 50 pounds, which is somewhere around maybe $67 US. But here's what it's being sold for in the US is it's being sold for $109, which is an absurd amount, and the reason that I've never bought one.
Serious? Oh man.
Seriously. And that is an Amazon price tag. That is a Prime Amazon price tag. So that is a discounted price.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, not disputing it's a great product because
it is a great product.
It's a great product. Just the price tag needs to come down for
we
it to be
we need to that's why you guys have, my support is because you understand that we in the paranormal field are not made of money.
No, we're not.
So,
question for John: what's an obelisk go for? I can tell you already. In the US, they're going for upwards of over $500. Some of them, obviously, if you're buying secondhand, you're buying something like the obelisk free, made by Digital Dells, and you're looking at $1,000, if not more. The obelisk, the Parrot obelisk that we build here in the UK, and obviously the only one that can build them here in the UK and sell them here at the moment, is £375, and that's because we know how much goes into them and how scientific ours is in respect of I'll try to be diplomatic here, of what we've seen before.
Yeah. And Haunted Expeditions, my friend Tony, says, yes, I know I paid too much, but I wanted it. So, Tony, what I'm going to say is, I'm going to say this to you. I'm not sure how they're going to stack up, but I think it's going to be a night and day kind of thing. When these guys drop their beacons coming up, what is it, next month? Or is it this month?
Before the end of this month, mate. I think 14th, the first beacon comes out.
So just a few days away. Just a few days away. Literally in 5 days when they drop, I will say, snag one that works in the exact same manner as the K2 lantern, stack them up next to each other, and I want you to shoot a video. I want you to shoot a video of it. And just see ease of use, functionality, all of that stuff. So that is something that I know that John wants to see, that I want to see, is more people kind of pushing that stuff out there like that, is testing different pieces of equipment from different companies and things like that. Because especially if we can prove 100% without a shadow of a doubt that you do not have to spend leaps and bounds and incredible amounts of money to be able to get a great piece of equipment, we can change the paranormal game.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. The way that will change as well is when people bring out a new product, they will not be able to charge over the moon for over the whatever you want to call it, for over the top. Okay, guys. And the stores that charge you way too much, which makes you feel like that's going to take a whole one of my paychecks to buy that, will have to bring their prices down, because you won't go to those. You'll go to the ones that you can afford, but that you know has got good quality.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This is why we're here. This is what Paranormal Electronics is all about. Bring down the price of all the items in the paranormal field to a more affordable price. And if we have to be the one that provides that for the rest of eternity, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Paranormies are saying, can't afford the Ovilus yet. And I will say this, stop paying for your wedding and buy a piece of equipment. All right. Now,
oh my God. Right. On that note, guys, if you can't afford an obelisk outright, we do have the £150 deposit option where we hold the points. We build it, we hold it, it's on the shelf for you. And then obviously when you've got the rest of it, you can just pay the rest of it.
Apparently, Mads really enjoyed that whole quit paying for your wedding thing. She's right beside me. I apologize for nothing.
You know, I was on my do you know what? I got married when I got married to the wife. We're next morning, obviously coming down for breakfast. Half the guests were still like staying at the same hotel, so I'm there, and he goes, and the guy went, John, what's it feel like to be married? I'm like, not really that much different, other than the fact of a bit like less light in my pocket now. And he goes, oh, I've been married for 35 years, and I went, really? He goes, yeah, the great train robber's got left.
That's funny. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, when you get married, it's a 25 to life sentence. So I'm just saying. So we've talked about these great pieces of equipment, and what is, in your opinion, the best equipment to pair with this to further confirm that there is activity happening?
Wow, there's a question and a half, isn't there?
Oh yeah,
so much out there. We see if I was using a multimeter, I'd already have temperature as well as milligauss, so EMF. So I'd have that already. I'd probably put my REM pod next to it, but also have a video camera recording it, as well as an EMF meter. And
yeah, you read that.
One. How can you choose just one? I mean, everything's out there detects every kind of atmospheric change. How can you choose just one?
It's difficult. What you do is you buy one of every different type of beacon that is going to be coming out on the website. That's what you do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just set them next to each other and just watch the pretty lights happen.
Absolutely. So Monday, guys, the first one to drop is the one that detects the temperature change and the vibration. And
we took a look at that last week.
We did.
So if you guys don't know what that looks like, watch last week's episode if you didn't see it, because it makes an appearance and it makes a lot of people want to buy it, including me, even though I'm broke, but it's going to happen.
And guys, once again, I'm pricing things based on the fact of what it costs me to build it and the time it takes to build, and making a small profit from it. And that's everything that we price. I mean, and then in the coming weeks, we're going to be dropping the EMF one, the REM pod one, the just the temperature, the just the vibration, and obviously the ones which are actually on the back burner, which I let slip one of them last week. And there's also 3 or 4 more different little bits and pieces that we're going to be doing, including a sound one.
Don't play with me, man.
Yeah, so I've done some work with the Arduinos this week to get it to be this like sound equalizer stuff, so that the whole of the beacon could be a sound equalizer.
Oh, that is friggin' sweet.
Mate, I've been playing House of the Rising Sun for it all week.
That's amazing.
All sick of it in the office.
I think, and this is just an idea in my head of a wicked sweet version of a beacon, would be to take the idea of the pocket plasma and put it on the sides of a beacon.
Wow.
So you can almost see like fingers and things like that grabbing it to be like, what the heck is that? So I'm sorry. That's just my brain. I didn't mean to blow yours. I'm sorry. I promise everyone I'm completely sober. I've never done a drug in my life. It would be dangerous with the way my brain works to do drugs. So,
in this case, then I would have to, in the middle of the beacon, print that and actually use the outsides as the plasma screen. So I'd have to make it that slightly bit thinner so that it allowed the contact. And then just put the coil.
And then put a REM pod at the top.
A REM pod would just go off because the circuitry would be affected by the massive PM field generated. But I could put a static.
Yeah.
Or even vibration.
I mean, we're not talking about this, guys. We're not talking about this. Never mind. Don't listen to us. This is something we're going to talk about later. All right. So
You've got my mind working now, mate. I'm away, right? I'm taking the boys to Natural History Museum tomorrow, and all I'm going to go around thinking is, plasma one. Right? And he's going to go, Daddy, look at this dinosaur, and I'm going to be go, yeah, but it's not plasma.
Oh
Honestly,
my God.
the other day, right, he was talking to me. No one ever like comes up to me and goes, "Hey, Daddy, you gonna come play with me?" And I went, "EMF." Oh no, wait, what?
Oh my God. So
although he does come and sit next to me at work, finds when he's not in nursery, and he'll be like, "How does this work, Daddy? How does that work, Daddy?" And that is probably the best thing about my job, is the fact my boy just wants to sit with me and learn as well.
Well, you've got a protege. You have an apprentice.
I won't obviously mention about him nicking the tools into other rooms and trying to like put holes in the walls.
That's funny. So that's what we've got for you today, guys. Is I hope you guys learned something about the EMF, the electromagnetic frequency, not field, frequency, and different ways to detect it, the different products that are out there, and your best practice with trying to add things in to understand more of what's going on as as your EMF reader is going off of choice, whatever that be, being the Gauss meter, the K2, the multimeter, the Mel meter, and the EDI. Obviously, the two that would be your best bet that we talked about would be your K2 or your multimeter. That's not to say that the Gauss meter is bad. It's not. I've used it and I've seen it work. And that's not to say that the Mel meter is bad, because it will work. It's not to say the EDI is bad, because the EDI will work. We're talking about for the money, for the price tag, what you want to get, your two best pieces to get would be the K2. And remember, it needs to be made by K2 Enterprises, okay? In Camillus, New York, not anyone else. It needs to be K2 Enterprises. And then your multi. Those are going to be your two best bets. And obviously, starting June 14th, in just 5 days. What's coming out, John? What's coming out?
The Parabeacon. So it's going to be $59.99, guys. Just $59.99. And that's the vibration and temperature sensor, which is going to be in the very first one. Soon afterwards, going to be rolling out, like I said, the EMF, the REM, and the other ones that we've got in the pipeline.
And the new one that just got thought of. So,
probably very soon, that one, to be fair. I get ideas when somebody gives me ideas like this. I have to know how they work, even if it's a complete and utter fail. I have to put one together to prove to myself it's a fail.
I mean, it's worth it, right? It's worth it.
Yeah,
it's research.
Research, and as long as I don't die, I'm happy.
Well, if you do, it's just somebody else for me to talk to on the other side.
I'll get it all on camera as well, so I've got the evidence of it.
Well, and luckily I know that if it happens in the right place, it's going to be a really nice investigation, you being there with all of the other spirits that are in your house. I could just picture you, like, if that were to happen and you cross over to the other side and you just kind of like walk through the veil and see everyone that is haunting your house and go, "You guys come here often?" Do we have jackets? What's the plan?
What are you doing to my house? What are you doing? Am I dead? Oh, what have I finally got me?
Like, dang it.
But hey, so what's the holiday schedule? I mean, do we have to do this only 5 days a year? Like,
I've got other people on my list that they're just begging for it. So Can we go ahead and figure out some sort of work schedule? Or
So Monday you got to shut the door. Tuesday you have investigators come round. So all you have to do is run around a little bit, make a little bit of noise. They're happy. On Wednesday, well, that's when the medium comes round. You just got to shout at her, call yourself whatever you want. And don't worry.
Anyway, guys.
Sunday they're out of the house. They've gone to church. It's fine. You can keep that. Put the telly on. You know, the F1, whatever you want to
watch. So, guys, as I talked about earlier, obviously those beacons are going to be starting to sell. We've got the vibration meter with the temperature sensors on it, and it is a really cool piece of equipment. We've seen it in action last week on last week's episode, so go and check that if you didn't see it. Also, every piece of equipment from, I believe you said the K2, the multimeter, the EDI, these are all available at Paranormal Electronics Limited online. The link is down in the description below. Okay, it's down there. So you guys can go check them out. These guys have the best prices on stuff out there. They are not going to screw you. Like some people that I'm not going to talk about, but they won't do it. And you guys definitely want to go check them out. Okay. And we're going to continue all of this fun next week. Wait till exactly. Wait till you find out what we've got going on next week in next week's class. Your homework for this week, ladies and gentlemen, your homework for this class is to go out, have fun, and enjoy a fun weekend of investigating. And with that being said, I love you all. God bless. And we will talk to you next time on Sparks of the Paranormal. Is it over?